So welcome everyone to our ReSourceYYC Lunch and Learn. So that you are aware, ReSourceYYC is a co-working community geared to professionals. We offer our Lunch and Learn sessions as a means for our community to network and provide meaningful learning opportunities. We also provide private office spaces, dedicated desks, day drop-ins, and virtual office options. If you're not yet a member with us, we encourage you to check out our website and follow us on social media. Links will be posted in the chat. Today we have Toni Guffei, who is an adjunct professor at MRU and teaches digital marketing courses at the University of Calgary. She's currently a marketing strategist with Reto Marketing Inc. Over to you, Toni.
Great, thanks, Rosemary. I'm going to share my slides. There we go. Great, we have someone else coming into the room. So welcome everybody. Yes, as Rosemary said, I'm Toni with Ratio Marketing, and today our topic is search engine optimization and search engine marketing. I said it backwards there. So we'll cover off these two topics and talk about what they are in digital marketing and how you can use them for your business and why you might want to consider a little bit of each. We'll do a little bit of introduction. It's not too many people here, so we will go around and just do a brief introduction, and then we'll dive into what search engine marketing is, what search engine optimization is, how you can learn a little bit about it to get started, and just, you know, I'm going to just scratch the surface and I'll tell you how to get some more resources if you like afterwards. But we'll end up talking about how to measure the results, because marketing in today's world, digital marketing specifically, has a lot of data. And the best thing about it is that we are able to instantly measure the results. And the best thing we can do is implement tactics, measure on an ongoing basis, do things that work and continue to invest in those things that are working, and eliminate or reduce our time and effort in things that aren't working. And that's literally how we optimize our marketing spend. I just hear, Rosemary, a little crackling sound. I think someone's got their mute. Oh, they're not muted. Okay, great. So just a tiny bit about myself in terms of what qualifies me to teach this. I started my career, I have an undergrad degree in economics. I started my career at Vancouver Airport as a stats analyst, and then advanced into a career doing marketing at 13 airports, where I managed the lease promotions of the leased license space for the airport manager, like doing promotional programs to small communities for these regional types of airports. So they were the big airports, but so I managed the marketing completely, went back and did an MBA, and then moved to Alberta, where I came with the Business Development Bank, and then started my own consulting practice in 2004, but didn't make a lot of money because Calgary is very relationship oriented. So I started teaching, and I've kept teaching throughout the years because I do love to teach. I like to train and help others understand some of the concepts in today's world so that they can excel. So there's me. I'm always the least tall person in the room. So as one of my students won a pitch competition at Mount Royal. So I still continue to teach, but it's less than half of my revenue. Most of what I do comes from Ratio Marketing, where we do research, strategy, planning, and helping companies to implement tactics. And the core, my core expertise is research, but we focus as a business in terms of marketing specifically on your ROI. How are you getting a return on your investment? How do we reach your corporate goals? How do we marry marketing with your business goals? So that's our key focus. All right, so we've got, aside from myself and our moderator, we've got 9 people in the room. I just would like to go around really quick with 15 seconds. So with 9 times 15, it should only take less than 5 minutes. Just tell us your name, what your business or product is, or what you really, what's your burning question for today? So I just use this information because as I talk through my slides, I might use some examples that you might relate to. So just gives me a good understanding of where you're coming from. I'm going to start at the top of my screen, and I see Vishali has joined us. Hello, Vishali. How are you?
Good morning, Toni, and thank you, ReSourceYYC, for arranging this. You're giving me an opportunity to learn from Toni one more time, so thank you so much. My name is Vaishali. and I am developing my business on web design and development. And this is a very important session for me because how we use keywords on the website really brings up your business in the search engines. So this is the reason why I'm here.
Great. We're definitely going to talk about keywords. Thank you. Michelle?
Hi, my name is Michelle. I've been working in marketing for quite a few years now, and but not specifically SEO and SEM. So what I was looking for is for an overview of it, since it's been a while since I've been actually doing some SEO and SEM work in my actual role.
Perfect. So it sounds like we have two Michelles in the room. So the other Michelle as well.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm actually also in marketing. I'm just working with an ERP consultancy firm in Vancouver, and we're working on a bit of a rebrand for them. And so it's kind of like a restart from start to finish. And so I really kind of want to get up to date with the best and the most recent strategies to be using.
Great. So we'll definitely cover off the first Michelle. We'll cover off some terminology, and I will talk about some of the latest things, but there's so much going on. Anyways, I'll do my best. Elaine, are you with us? Do you want to just say a few words about who you are? You're on mute. Oh, Elaine, hello. I know Elaine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elaine Coates, and I'm in the construction industry. So deal with a lot of social media, mostly on my own, which is pretty hairy. So just here to learn a bit more.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Toni.
Kyle Marshall.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kyle. I am the owner of Media Lab YYC, where we strategize, record, edit, publish podcasts for businesses and people. And I feel like I know like high level or like bird's eye view of what SEO is, but I kind of want to get more into it because I think it's more than just keywords or just phrases and stuff like that. There's some more strategy behind that I'd like to understand.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you'll get a good overview today for sure. Allison.
Hello, I'm Allison Popemecker. I'm currently on the board at the Goldmine Project, but I've taken some marketing courses and I want to learn a little bit more about this SEO versus SEM. I've heard a lot about it and I want to know more about it.
Great. You're in the right place. Thank you so much. Iva.
Hi, I'm Iva. I'm an accountant bookkeeper, and I'm here to learn more about SEO versus SEM.
Thanks, Iva. And we've got a couple more people that joined us. Terry Whitehead.
Hi there, my name's Terry. I am the former executive director and administrator of a sports nonprofit, so kind of a jack of all trades position, of which marketing was one piece of that. And so just tuning in it's always helpful to round out those different areas, and things like digital marketing seem to be changing so fast. Even so, I'm no longer in that role, but I'm still on a couple boards, job hunting, and that marketing piece still pops up in a lot of places.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's good just to have a little bit of understanding of it as well. And Celine. Do we have any? Celine, do you want to just say a couple words? And did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. Oh, Sheila. Yes, of course. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm hiding here. Sheila Carruthers, and I'm a bit of a Luddite. I did finally manage to work on content in my own website, which I had contracted someone to redevelop. Love if anyone would critique it for me, but often what I'm finding, well, I haven't done it much, I'm getting the alerts, Google or, the hosting page tells me that my SEO is not up to scratch. So I'm still scoring red quite often. So I've no idea how to fix that, and I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Great, good. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tool for that.
We have Robin as well.
Oh, Robin. I forgot about Robin. Sorry, because we were chatting earlier. I totally skipped you. I'm
All
so
good.
sorry. Please go on.
No, it's all good. So yes, my name is Robin. I'm the owner of an orthotic or brace shop. So I've been in business for 22 years. And the thing that's changed the most is marketing. So digital marketing is like way over my head. And then I get frustrated when I hire someone to do it and I don't know if it's done effectively or if it's worth the return on the investment. So the more I can learn, the better. So thank you, Toni.
Yeah, thanks. When we do these sessions in person, those introductions, usually people network and people have gotten to know each other from these sessions. So if you like, I can see some people are already starting to put their information in the chat. You're welcome to do that because that's an added value with ReSourceYYC. It's the people that attend these sessions. It's not just people who are in the center, but also people who join us for these lunch and learns. All right, so let's just dive right in. So this session is for you if you want to learn more about that organic versus paid media. So search engine optimization, SEO, is how to optimize a website so it naturally shows up in a search. Whereas search engine marketing is the paid media that we use to drive traffic to a website. So SEO and SEM typically go hand in hand, and I'll talk about some of the pros and cons throughout this session. You'll want to do a little bit of both, or at least investigate a little bit of both in order to get that awareness to attract more customers. And I will talk a little bit about the customer journey and where that comes into play. And also where to allocate your resources. I don't know, I've talked to many clients or potential clients, and one of the biggest things I hear is that they just do not know what's working, what's not working. And, they're spending so much money, like where should they be spending their efforts? And what does that budget look like? So I'll talk a little bit about that today. It depends on, we've got some smaller businesses in here. It really depends on your budget. But what I hope to give you today is a little bit of an overview so that you do know some of the terminology. So if you want to start to tinker around on with these things on your own, you'll know what to start looking for. Or if you're going to be hiring someone, at least you know some of the terminology in the way that you'll know what to ask for. So I just gave you that overview. SEM, we'll start with talking about that, the paid media aspect on the search side. So paid media covers both Google and other search engines like YouTube, Bing, Yahoo, all those. And that's search engine marketing. People are going to search engines to find information. So that's where we're going to be focusing on. Paid media also covers social media, paid ads, but I'm not going to be talking about that at all today. I'm going to be focused strictly on paid media in terms of a search marketing paid media campaign versus search engine optimization. And I'll break down what are the key components of SEO to give you a high level look of what you need to know to set up a website and how you can potentially manage it on your own. All right, search engine marketing. So someone goes to the website and they key in some words, they use some keywords to find something, and a SERP comes up. So the search engine results page is what we call it. I don't know about you, but I don't, well, in marketing, sometimes I do look past the second or third page, but when I'm really looking for something, I only go to page 1 or 2. And we all know that, there's ads at the top, there's some organic in the middle. We might look past the second page just to, breeze through some of those ads, but it's important to show up in a search. So first of all, if you don't have a properly set up website so that it does show up organically in a search, you might want to think about search engine marketing and some ads to put you at least on that first page. I'll talk about how they work hand in hand, but that's just a consideration if you have the budget, and we can talk about that after. So what you need to do is find those keywords. Doing search engine marketing, Google search ads, those text ads that come up at the top, they're kind of tricky. You have to find keywords in terms of what people are looking for. So I typed in lamps Calgary because I was looking for a lamp a little while ago, and the very first thing you can see at the top here is how Google has changed their ad. It used to be bigger, it used to be green, it used to be in a box, and now it's just a little bold because they're just trying to pretend, oh, it's not really an ad, but it is an ad. And they usually show up at the top. So you'll see on a page result, there'll be up to four ads at the top. That's the max. Up to 3 at the bottom. That's the max usually. And they could be, I've seen ads up to page 11 deep, depending on how competitive those keywords are. So it is tricky. There's many components that go into digital ads, search ads. There's keywords. There's the volume versus the difficulty of those keywords. So that is how many competitors, so that's the difficulty, how many people are competing for those keywords. And the volume is how many people are searching. And you kind of want to find a balance between those two to get a good cost per click. So every time someone clicks on it, the company pays something. So how much you pay if you have a search ad is dependent on those factors. It's also dependent on Google's bidding auction, which is based on a quality score. And that quality score, it's complex. If there's any in-depth information that you want, I have research on all these things. I can send you some information, but I'll just tell you that the quality score is dependent on the type of ad and whether that ad relates to where you're sending the people to. So your landing page or your website needs to be consistent with what's in that ad. That's one of the quality scores. Yeah, so there's like 4 or 5 other things, and it's not something that Google specifically tells us. Some of those things are up to Google. So it's a little bit of a trial and error. And I always recommend, if you're doing search ads, because they're so costly, you need to do a few A/B testing in order to optimize it, so you're not spending money on page 11 when you're coming up as a cost per impression, which I've seen happen. Okay, so there's many complex things about it, but this is what it looks like. I wanted to go a little bit deep into that for a second. But why do we use Google? Well, my latest research tells us that 92% of all searches worldwide are on Google. So even if Google is going to have some competitors, like DuckDuckGo is now reached 1 million viewers per day, I think it was, or per month. But it's a significant stat that people are going, oh, here's a new search engine that doesn't have ads. That's how DuckDuckGo started. So they're going to have to find another way or eventually do ads. But the thing is that other search engines can be used, but we still want to follow the same practices as Google, because this is what happens in the tech sector. The leader of the pack sets the pace, and they decide how to monetize their system, and everybody sort of follows suit because they've already done the trial and error. So the same practices will be effective likely on other search engines. So how do digital ads work? All right, I'm going to share my screen so we can take a quick look at a little video because this will explain it a little bit better. So Rosemary, do tell me if something's funky and it's not working, but I've turned my sound on. It's about 3 minutes. So it just gives a good overview of how digital ads, search ads work.
Take a look at this. Online advertising has a language all its own, and if it sounds like a foreign language to you, you're not alone. But it's important to get comfortable with the terms so that you can make the most out of your AdWords investment. To help make sense of it all, here's a scenario. Owen is planning a wedding, and Brenda is a photographer. Brenda uses AdWords to advertise online to people who are looking for a photographer. This is one of her ads. Brenda takes 3 types of photos: babies, real estate, and weddings. She uses different ads for each area of her business. Each collection of ads makes up an ad group. Brenda assigns to each ad group the words and phrases that are relevant to that part of her business. These are keywords. AdWords uses keywords to help decide which ads to show to people searching for things online. Brenda's 3 ad groups make up a campaign. The campaign is where Brenda decides big picture things like her preferences for the devices her ads will show up on and how much she spends. Owen types experienced wedding photographer into google.com. The phrase experienced wedding photographer is his search term. He sees 2 types of search results. Organic search results, located in the middle of the page, are the websites that match Owen's search term. No one can pay to appear in these results. The second type of results, paid results, are usually located at the top, bottom of the page. These are ads from businesses that are using AdWords. In most cases, an advertiser is charged when someone like Owen clicks one of these ads. Does Brenda's ad appear when Owen makes his search? That depends. Whenever someone uses Google to search, there's an auction that determines which ads appear and in which order. Two main factors determine the outcome: how much an advertiser is willing to pay for a click, which is a bid, and something called quality score. Quality score is an estimate of how relevant and useful your ad and the page on your website it links to are to someone seeing your ad. Together, bid and quality score determine where and if Brenda's ad appears on Owen's search results page. Bids and budget are different. Your bids affect how much you'll spend each time someone clicks one of your ads. Your budget affects how much you'll spend each day on your entire campaign, which influences how often your ads are shown. As it turns out, Brenda's ad appears on Owen's search results page. This is an impression. Owen clicks Brenda's ad to find out more on her website. This is a click. Owen likes what he sees on Brenda's website and hires her to photograph his wedding. Brenda's ad has gotten Owen to do something valuable, hire her for an event. This is a conversion. Owen is a satisfied customer. Brenda is a happy advertiser. These are results.
In addition to bid.
Okay. All right. Back to our slides. Yes, good. So that gives us a little bit of an overview of how the search ads work. So I want to tell you a little bit about those keywords that we talked about. So when you set up ads in search, you usually have to do 3 to 5 sets of text types of ads so that Google can try to figure out which one is the best one that will optimize, because Google wants to spend your money. So it'll find the right ones that it estimates will get the best clicks. But the way that you formulate the keywords is important for those searches. So you can do an exact match. So you can see on the left exact match, and on the very right, it shows you what that formatting looks like. It has square brackets. So I'm looking for dress shoes. So whenever someone types in dress shoes and they're in this parameters, the way it's set up in the ad, my ad should show up. But that's very, very narrow, really. We want to, maybe people are looking for dress shoes for a gala, like that's a phrase match. So we want to have keywords within a phrase, and that's how our organically, our ad, will show up. Broad match is the broadest you can imagine. It's like a catch-all for anything, but we could have things show up that are not relevant, like jobs for dress shoe sellers or something, right? Broad match modified is where often we add a city or we add something to it. So it's broad, but we do narrow it by some sort of parameter. And then negative match is where we do take out negative words like jobs or job search related type of things. Or here it's shoe repairs, because they don't do, we're not looking for repairs in our, we don't do that. So we don't want to have it in our ads. So this is a complexity that needs to be addressed when setting up search ads. And it is a bit of a trial and error. Google now has what's called dynamic ads, where you can just say, here's my landing page, here's some of my keywords. You decide what the ads should look like. So there's less control. I recommend doing a little bit of both. You can put those parameters on your search to have whether just your ad campaigns run, your specific ad campaigns, or if you want Google to maybe do it for you. One thing to keep in mind is search terms. A lot of search terms, the top 10,000 keywords make up less than 20% of the overall search terms. So yes, I search for for dress shoes, but what I'm really looking for is those black satin dress shoes. And that's what's called a long tail search term. So they're more unique terms. So think of it this way, that a lot of the volume might be super high for dress shoes. The volume is less high, but it's more intention focused and specific for those long tail terms. So those 70% of most search terms come from those long tail searches, those long tail keywords. So I always recommend peppering some, use the different keyword phrases, but also use some long tail terms, especially if you're not a big business. You don't want to compete against the big guys. You want to, I'm working with a landscaping company. They focus on eco landscaping. So when we search eco landscaping Calgary, they're the only ones that show up. So we're not even going to do any ads. But if they were going to do ads for just landscaping Calgary, they're competing against a lot of companies. That's a competitive environment, especially in the spring when more companies are trying to get attention. So they're not a big company. They only want a certain amount of jobs. If we were to do ads, we would do some very specific long tail, more so than just general keywords for them. So something to think about when you're designing ads. So search ads are great to capture attention. Retargeting ads are often used in the buyer journey where they already know a little bit about us, but we retarget them with often display ads. So display ads, you saw where I searched lamps Calgary and Wayfair came up. I clicked on that. I was looking for a lamp and I got repeated display ads as they cookied me. They keep track of your IP address and they follow your device around the internet, and the Wayfair ads with the lamp that I liked would start to show up. So a user sees an ad, for example, they visit the website, they leave without converting, they get a cookie on their a cookie gets stored, and then as they're browsing the internet, they see this retargeting ad, and would inspire them to visit your website again. So this happened to me. I did search for a lamp locally. This was during COVID. I was very particular what I was looking for. I did visit the Wayfair website, but I found another lamps specific website online. I want to buy local, but I found this one. I'm like, okay, I'll order online. I'm more comfortable, as many people are ordering online during COVID. I got all the way, I spent an hour looking for this lamp. I got all the way into putting it into my cart. And then I realized there's like shipping fees. And then it's in US dollars. So a $42 lamp it turned out to be $90. I'm like, abort. So I left, but I'd already inputted my email address. So not only did I get retargeting ads, my beautiful lamp would show up when I was looking at all kinds of things around the internet. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that I actually got an email from them saying, hey, the sale's almost over. Do you still want your lamp? And then I went back to the website and I bought it. So retargeting ads are very effective as part of that buyer's journey. We want to first create awareness with search engine optimization and search engine marketing. But once they're aware of us, we want to think about how can we get them to make a decision and consider what we have to offer so they actually convert or take action. Retargeting ads and remarketing through email are really effective. Retargeting ads are about 1/10 of the cost of search ads. So what might cost $5, $10, sometimes I've seen $20 to $50 for a search ad click, depending on how competitive it is. Retargeting ads can be 1/10 of that cost and highly effective because you already have an interested buyer, but they haven't bought yet. So why not give them a little bit more of what they want? And that's the key thing. The retargeting ads need to be relevant. And I've talked to people that have said, I kind of like the retargeting ads because they're giving, as long as it's what I want, I appreciate it. And I certainly did too, because at $90 for that lamp, it was still cheaper than any other lamp that I had found out there that I liked. So that's search engine marketing. Let's go over to search engine optimization. So that's the process of maximizing the number of visitors to your website and making sure that it shows up high on a visit or on a search. For a search. I should just read what it says here. Your website is ensuring it ranks high on the list of results returned by someone's online search. So there are many tools to find relevant keywords, and this is important. The best thing to do to start with is to think about what are some of the keywords that my audience looks for, and then do some research. What are the competitors using? What are your actual users looking for when it comes to, let's say you have a gluten-free bakery. What are they looking for? So these are some tools, and just a heads up, SEMrush and Moz, two of the most popular ones used by pretty much every search engine optimization consultant that I know of. These are paid tools, but a must-have if you're serious about SEO. The Google Keyword Planner comes with your Google AdWords account. So once you're in there, you can kind of fiddle around and see what keywords are being used, and it gives you relevant information about volume specifically, not as much on the competitive factor. I use Keywords Everywhere. So Keywords Everywhere, I'm going to show you what this is. It's an extension on my Google Chrome. I have it all set up here for us to take a look at. So it's this little K at the very top here. I've already installed Keywords Everywhere. If you want, I can send you information on how to do it step by step. I have a video from YouTube. But I've already installed it. So it used to be completely free, but now it's not free. You actually have to pay if you want to see the volume and the competitiveness, which is the difficulty. However, it still ranks all the keywords by the highest number of keywords searched. So as I was telling you, I looked for lamps in Calgary, and then that the Wayfarer, oh, that ad did not show up there. But we have some things. Oh, here's the ads. These are different kinds of ads that are showing up. But as you see here, we've got the geo-targeting. These are also SEO'd website. Just because they're showing up doesn't mean they are the ones that are the most closest. They're the most closest with proper SEO. So let's just take a look at that Keyword Everywhere. So here it's, once you install it, these boxes will show up all the time, and it will give you the keywords that are being searched by priority. So this will be the highest volume. And if you want to know the exact metrics of the volume versus difficulty, you can actually buy credits, and they're not very expensive. But I use this keyword tool just to figure out what are some of the keywords that I can use, not just in my search engine marketing, but also in SEO, because you'll want to integrate keywords into your website naturally so that Google knows that when people are searching for lamps Calgary, like this organic one here, see the keywords, it's pulling up keywords that are similar to lamps. Like Google knows that's smart. It knows that lighting and lamps are similar. So it'll pull up keywords that have relevant content. So we are Google's audience. They want to give me the most relevant content for my keyword search. So they're going to look for websites that organically have that content within it. So those websites needs to be set up properly. So let's go back to our slides and talk about what that means. All right, so there's three components, what I say, and this is how I've formulated how SEO works. There's lots of information out there. I've done a really deep dive. I teach SEO as a course at corporate training, and as part of my University of Calgary. It can take up to a year if you want to be a search engine an SEO expert. It is a very, very deep dive, and it changes all the time. So how I formulate in my mind, there's three components to it. It's the technical setup of the website, it's what goes on the website, and what goes on off the website. So I'm going to talk about those things very high level. So you need to optimize mostly with keywords, your URL, your title tags, even the images, they'll have alt tags on them to describe them, some of the text within your page, and the meta description. So here you'll see the SEO title of this particular word. The meta description is what that's about. And you do see that here. Here's the title and the meta description. You can see how that shows up. So these need to be put into your website properly with keywords. So I don't know, sometimes you'll see URLs like the domain, it'll be like www.thisisawebsite.com/garblygoop. Well, that Google doesn't care. Google's like, that doesn't mean anything to us. That's not a relevant page. You need to have it set up properly. And on that, you'll need an SSL certificate where that HTTP has an S at the end, HTTPS. That means it's secure. And Google won't, you'll get parked nowadays if you don't have the SSL certificate. So everything technically needs to be set up and optimized, and a good website developer will take you to this point. And even if you do a Wix website, which is a website in a box, it helps you to optimize the setup of your website for search engine optimization. So it steps you through it. If you have a WordPress site, that's a little trickier. If you have WordPress, it does have this Yoast plugin. So those of you who are managing your own WordPress website, this is a lengthy video. No, let me just see if this is one I have. Just check here. Just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to go over. Yeah, it's only about 3 minutes. I'm going to show it to you because it's quite valuable. This is Neil Patel. He is a digital marketing guru. I follow him. He's one of my influencers that I follow. Anyways, he's talking about Yoast plugin. So the Yoast plugin, I think it was Elaine that was talking about it. If you have this plugin, it guides you through that process in terms of what you need to optimize. It's sort of what Wix does, which is, you know, pre-done for you, Wix in a box, website in a box. It kind of guides you through what you need to optimize on your website to make it technically good. And it even gives you some other things like the user experience, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, but let's share this here. So let me know again if you can't see it. Where did you go? There he is.
The Yoast SEO plugin, all you have to do is go to...
Okay, sorry. I did something weird there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Now there's one really simple way to do this. It's called the Yoast SEO plugin. I could tell you go make all these on-page changes and do this or that, but you know what? These days, SEO is really simple, especially if you have a WordPress blog. Install the Yoast SEO plugin. All you have to do is go to your plugin section within your WordPress, you search for Yoast SEO plugin, install it, and then you're off to the races. There's a few things you need to do once you install the plugin. The first thing that you need to do is create an XML sitemap that's within the Yoast plugin. It automatically generates it for you. Once you create a sitemap, go to Google Webmaster Tools, and then within Webmaster Tools, it's actually called Search Console now. I still call it Webmaster Tools because back in the day, that's what they used to call it. Once you add your site, go in there and add a sitemap. It's really simple. You add in the URL that Yoast gives you. Once you add it, it takes Google, let's say, a day or two to index all of your pages. They'll either determine if they want to index them or if they don't want to index them. And that's okay. The more pages you feed them, the more pages that you'll get indexed. In addition to that, within the Yoast plugin, it pretty much does most of it for you. Just make sure you use a really appealing title tag and a meta description. The title tag doesn't have to be the same as your blog post title. With the Yoast plugin, you can actually pick a specific title tag for that post. It doesn't have to be the same title tag as a blog post name. That's what happens with default WordPress. If you write a blog post, whatever you call it, tends to be the title tag. But now with Yoast, you can pick a new one. When you do a Google search, you see a blue link at the top and then a sentence or two underneath. The blue link at the top is called a title tag. The sentence or two underneath is called a meta description. That title tag up top, you can create a specific one just for people Googling. You want to put in the keywords that you think people will be Googling for. And of course, make it appealing as well. You can use keywords like now, try, free, or even include the date. By doing things like that, it causes more click-throughs. When you're including the date, you don't want to put the date that is written in. You would want to put a date like updated in 2017 or updated in 2020, whatever the year may be. By doing that, you'll get more clicks. As for the meta description, you of course want to include the keywords that you're targeting, as well as make it an appealing sentence, so that way people will want to click on your listing. It's that simple. I can go and break down a ton of other ways that you can optimize your blog using the Yoast plugin, but those are the main two ways. The only thing that you need to do on your end is when you're writing blog posts, make sure you cross-link. So if you have a post on SEO and you have another one on content marketing, and that content marketing one talks about text and putting in keywords, you can cross-link them together. By interlinking them within the text within each blog post, you'll notice that your blog posts will get crawled better and they'll rank higher. You also want to make sure you use the right words and phrases as you're writing the content. So if you're trying to rank for the keyword SEO, Google the word SEO, look at the top site that ranks for SEO, put it in the tool by SEO Book. It's called the SEO Book Keyword Density Analyzer. You put in the URL and it'll show you all the words and phrases people are using that already rank at top. When you get those words and phrases, you'll see them by percentage. You can then integrate some of those keywords within your blog post, and you'll notice over time your rankings will increase. That's it. Do those tactics and you'll rank higher in Google.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, he covered a few things there that I will mention. He talked about the sitemap. So when you get your website developed, your website developer should submit a sitemap to Google. Google's like a library. The sitemap is like, these are all the things in our library that you need to search. If you don't do it, it will still crawl through your website, but the sitemap gives Google like a map of everything that's on your website. So extremely important to send to Google. And every time you update your website, you should resend the sitemap. And the indexes just mean, so Google's like a library. Index pages are like the library books within that library, so it knows what to search for. And he did talk about hyperlinks between things on your website. Those are called anchor texts, and those are also good for your SEO. So let's continue on. He talked about a few other things, but I've got a couple slides here that reference some of the things he talked about as well. So we talked about the technical piece. The on-site SEO is what's in your website. So it needs to have sufficiently dense content copy, which is the written piece, to stand a good chance at ranking. So if it's thin content, less than 800 words per page, seems like a lot, but you can break it up with visuals in between. That's what Google likes. It's like, we need to see that you have enough relevant content that our user is going to find what they're looking for. So if it's just one page and no one clicks on anything, that's a high bounce rate. And Google doesn't like that. It needs to have sufficient number of pages or multiple clicks and people clicking on it in order for Google to feel like that is a relevant page. So it needs to have user-friendly content. Is it organized, easy to navigate, easy to find? Are people staying on your site? The bounce rate is when someone leaves without going to a different page. So if the bounce rate is high, Google, like, that's one of the factors Google considers in SEO. That is not a good thing. So does it have unique content? Do not copy and paste content from another site, from one site to another. That is not a good thing. Google knows that you've copied it and doesn't like that. Is it aligned with the user intent for that search? So it needs to be relevant to what they're searching for. And that is that quality score. And that's what the algorithms within Google is looking for. And is the user experience relevant? So that's how they interact with the site, what they do when they're on it, what they click on. So these are all things that Google looks for. On page also includes things like those anchor texts within pages, how quickly the page loads. So if visuals are not optimized, like small enough to load quickly, especially when they're on mobile, that load matters, how quickly it loads. So it should load within less than 5 seconds. If it's not, you need to optimize it a little bit. How many factors does Google use? Well, standard across the board. You'll hear SEO people talk about this, or articles saying it's about 200 factors. It changes all the time. Late last year, Google did a major update. You know, the interesting thing is Google has, if you want to learn how to do ads, they have certification for that, but they do not certify people for SEO because they're constantly changing it without telling people. So if you want to learn about SEO, you have to learn it outside of the Google platform. They don't teach it because they change it all the time to make it more relevant for their market, who's you and I. So I've read some research where it's up to 900 factors. So it's always shifting and changing. Offsite SEO means what's going on outside of your website that's helping to drive traffic. So you'll want to look at what competitors are doing, what keywords they're using, and how they're ranking, because you're competing for that valuable real estate, which is a search engine result. So you want to know what they're doing. The key thing to build your SEO externally is backlinks. So backlinks means your website URL is sitting on another website and someone clicks on it and they link back to your website. So Google really likes that. But what they like more than anything is quality backlinks. So authoritative sites like the Chamber of Commerce or Better Business Bureau or industry organizations having a bunch of backlinks for the sake of backlinks doesn't do you any favors. So quality backlinks is important. And your Google Analytics, if you don't have it set up, it's not that difficult, but it should be a code that's on every page of your website, and it analyzes all of these stats, like the bounce rate and how long people stay on the site and what pages they're visiting. So it's a huge tool, it's a valuable tool to give you great insight to what's happening with your website so that you can optimize it. So in summary, the SEO is technical, how it's set up, on page, how the user experiences it and what's going on the page, off page, how is traffic being driven to your website. And I might mention off page also includes your social sites. Google Analytics tracks where traffic's coming from, including your own social media. So very important to consider that. All right, an ideally optimized website, it's technically set up, easy to navigate, great user experience, unique content. It does mention keywords several times, and one of the latest trends is voice search. So this is beginning to become more and more relevant, even for digital ads. I don't know about you, but when I need to get gas, I pick up my phone and I go, cheap gas near me, and it'll give me the most optimized site that's closest to me. Sometimes I think there's, anyways, I won't go into that story, but know that people are using voice search. So it is an algorithm within Google. It's called, the acronym is BERT, B-E-R-T, and I don't know what that stands for, but what it means is natural languaging should be used within your, so what I'm trying to say is don't keyword stuff. Use keywords in a natural way in your website, and make sure that the website has links within the website and to the website as well. So those are some of the key things you need to know when optimizing a website. Does SEM improve SEO? Well, yes, as I mentioned, when working together, they are stronger than individually if you're not showing up on a search. If you have great organic, like that eco landscaping company, it does show up organically in a search in the first, second, and third spot. Why do ads necessarily? But if you're not showing up, you might want to consider digital ads, search ads, display ads, retargeting ads, in order to start showing up and creating awareness so that people will go to your website, and that those clicks to your website help the site organically. That is one of the things that Google looks for, is how many people are going to your site. So it'll help the organic boosting of it. SEO and SEM are great because they do create awareness. If your goal is to get more people to your site, you'll want to consider one or both of these. And it does help users from search channel have high conversion rates. So once they get to know a little bit about you, both these things can help to convert customers. But they both can be quite costly and costly to maintain because they require a certain amount of expertise, as I've explained. But with SEO, long-term returns, once your website is set up, it just needs, and it gets high up on a search, it does need some love and care over time. So it is a longer term play. It can take 6 to 12 months if you're not ranking very well for specific words. It can take a while to get up there, and then you still need to maintain it. But it does, people know that, I don't click on ads. I know their ads. I go for the organic. A lot of people go for the organic, and it can get more traffic than the paid because people know that it's organic. And there's an impression that they're more popular or they're more credible because they're showing up in a search. But it can be delayed results. Good search, like I mentioned, does take a while if you don't have it set up properly to get that traction. And it can be difficult to track all the terms that people are looking for because it's organic. Whereas search engine marketing, quick results, precise, you can put all kinds of parameters, age, geographic, you can search by keywords, but there's also other preferences like what types of terms are people more likely to click on, like some of the psychographic information, and really easy to track. The only thing is, once you stop doing it, you don't get that traffic from advertising. It's gone. All right, so I want you to think about, we don't have time to go around, but just want you to think about some of the key points from this session that'll help you with your business. I'm sure there's a few things we've talked about here. If you do want any additional information, I am happy to answer any questions by email. And I just have a couple more slides here about where to spend your efforts. If you're doing it yourself or you're considering digital marketing for your company or hiring someone, this is some of the research. Half of all web traffic does come from organic search. So building your website so it's set up properly and you're getting traffic driven to it organically is probably a main focus for you with your business. But do consider some paid search and figure out how to optimize it. Some does come from social, and then about a third comes from all other sources. So that could be backlinks, that could be other offline traffic or websites. People organically will search because they've seen it somewhere else. So just some of the things to think about here, where to spend your efforts. I know companies, they're like, we're not showing up in a search, we just want to do some ads. Well, let's look at how the website is working and your social is working for you first, and then decide which type of ads, because search ads are expensive and difficult to do really well. We have a subcontractor that works for us who does digital ads, and I work just for testing and research. I work very closely with her, and I know she knows her stuff, but she's been working in the industry for quite some time and she's really good at it, but it's hard to find people that actually know what they're doing. So that's the other thing is you need to find someone who's able to give you reports every month and explain to you how they're optimizing your ads, if that's something that you're doing. Okay, I could go on and on about that, but I won't. So just to touch base on the SEO, SEM aspect, as I mentioned, the buyer's journey earlier. So the journey, a typical journey is create awareness. It's a lot of exposure at the top of the funnel. And then you drive them down the funnel by giving them more information so they consider what you have to offer and they make a decision. So that here it's explained in a slightly different way by this Oblero. They discover what you have, they consider it, then they convert. They take action. Either they buy, they sign up, they download something, and then you continue to build a relationship with them so they become what's called brand advocates, and they start to spread what you are and who you do by word of mouth. So the SEO, SEM really comes into play at the top of the funnel where you're trying to create awareness. Retargeting, remarketing is great for the middle of the funnel. And then once they convert, you can continue to reach out to them in other sorts of ways. So this is a really good little slide that gives you an information about all the other things. SEO, SEM is one aspect of an integrated approach to developing a great marketing strategy. And you do want to measure those results. On SEO, you're looking for your ranking in a Google search by keywords, how many people visit your website, how long they're staying on your site, how many people are asking for more information from that search. So those are good measurements to track. On the paid side, you're looking at cost per click. There are industry benchmarks out there, and if you're interested, I do have information on research that I've done across different industries about what the average cost per click should be. And if you're too high, you need to adjust it if something's not being done right. So it's good to set those benchmarks at the beginning in terms of what our industry averages. Same with cost per conversion. How much are you paying for people to take an action? What's the click-through rate? That means how many people have seen it divided by how many people click on it. Very important metric. And then ultimately your return on your advertising spend. How much are you spending? How much business are you getting from that? And just to wrap this up, we do have 5 minutes for questions. I just want you to keep in mind first, it takes time. It's a commitment to use SEO and SEM. You'll want to optimize it, do away with what doesn't work, invest more time and energy what does work. So you need to watch it on a regular basis. Do your research, find out what your market wants, what are the keywords, what's the competition doing, and again, measure. Super important. So I will leave this up here. This is my contact information. Please, reach out anytime with questions. Follow me on LinkedIn. I do post relevant content with regard to marketing strategies. That's solely what I post, mostly curated content, but I do write some blogs and I have some other content up there, valuable information. So with that, I will open up the floor if anybody has any questions. Yes, good question. Someone's asked about the, just scrolling through. Let me go back here. Let me know if I'm missing anything. Turn on your mic. I missed the name of the extension. It's called Keyword Everywhere. Keywords everywhere. I think it's keyword or keywords everywhere. And then does optimizing text under YouTube videos help with SEO? No, but YouTube now, no. When you do YouTube, I don't think the text optimizes it, no. But if you do ads, YouTube is owned by Google, so it's set up the same way as Google. Google now offers the opportunity to search by hashtags. So keep that in mind. This is relatively new within the last month or so. Use hashtags in your YouTube and that will help because people will be searching by hashtags. Anything else? Any other questions that I've missed here? So I'm just looking through. Great. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Stay in touch. Do reach out if you have any additional questions. You can reach out through ReSourceYYC. They know me quite well there. I do a number of talks once every while. Keep an eye, and if you read now that you've signed up, they'll have you on their email list because there's other really great speakers that ReSourceYYC does. They do these lunch and learns on a regular basis. Great to meet everybody. I hope you had a chance to do a little bit of networking and learn. Also follow up with some of the people in the course today. So thanks everybody for joining us.
Thanks, Toni.
Thank you. We'll
Yes,
see you
thank you very much, Toni. That was a
Thank
great
you.
presentation.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. And we did repost some of our links in the chat if you're still looking for those.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. ReSourceYYC is an excellent center, not just for co-working. They also offer marketing services. So if you're looking for a VA, basically, isn't that what you're doing? I don't know if it's you, Rosemary, but I know your office. I see it on your newsletters if people are looking for marketing assistance.
Yeah, so we do it based on what we have a discussion with whoever's joining us for marketing needs and work out what help they need and what we can do.
Perfect. So we'll stick around. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, Toni, one quick question, and that was that you said that, oh, I could give you this research and that research, and I was trying to track everything that you said because, of course, you've got research on everything. But this was good. I mean, I thought I knew about SEO, but obviously didn't. I think that some of your backup research on, helping a Luddite like me get the most out of. I have used SEM in the past, very carefully, but not strategically enough, clearly. And so it is finding out about keywords. And I think I got that keywords everywhere. I'm going to use that. Are there any other sites like that? When you talked about the SEO tools, you talked about the SEM Rush.
Yep.
And you said that that's what SEO consultants use the most.
And Moz.
And Moz, M-O-Z, Keyword
Right.
Explorer. Do I just Google those and I'll find them?
I'm going to, this is great. You're asking this question because I've got a resource for you right here. I wrote a blog on my favorite resources. So there's, and you can look through there. It ranges from social media to SEO, all kinds of digital marketing, content management information. Is my 10 top resources that I go to. And I shared them there in that link.
Thank you.
That'll be helpful because a lot of that's right. So I invested 2 solid years in understanding digital marketing for my own business. So I've done vlogs, blogs, podcasts, tweet my website, Google. I'm still in the middle of learning more about Google Analytics. I'm taking another course on it, more advanced, but it took that long to learn this much, and I still need to learn 20% more every year on an ongoing basis. So it never ends. It never ends. But those resources are pretty good. They're my go-to that I use for any of my research.
Super. Thank you. Just looking through it. This is brilliant.
Awesome.
Okay. Very helpful. Thank you.
And I'm glad you joined us, Sheila. It's nice to see you.
It's lovely to see you too. Take care.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Anybody else while we're here?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
What is for a small, let's say small landscaping company business in Calgary, what would be a cost of a website for that type of company, the average cost?
So if you want, I know a couple of different people. I always recommend getting a request for proposal. So if you do a Wix website, a basic Wix website can be fairly reasonably cost $800 to $1,000. I would recommend someone I know who does that. But if you really want, you don't need a big website. And the nice thing about Wix is that, I'll just tell you, it's much easier to set up, but it's much easier to change on your own. So you won't be paying a lot of those additional fees for updating. You can add blogs and pictures as you like, which would be a good idea. To get a WordPress site, to get it done really well, it would probably be at least twice as much just for a basic website, at least for someone to do it right. I mean, you can get other people, because I teach people, I always say, do you have a student that can do this? Do you have a student that can do that? Well, the thing about students is that only 3% are A+ students. I've been teaching for 15 years. They learn things, but they don't always apply them. Sure, if they have a curiosity, if they're that 3%, yeah, absolutely. But
No,
I would recommend, sorry.
But I actually know somebody who does Wix.com websites.
Perfect. Start there.
But I understand too about the students. Because even though I've come in, I do a lot of done a lot of cleanup, clean up accounting books, because after the student has come in, and it's just they don't have that practical experience. I can, just by some of the entries, I can tell they're students and they just don't have that experience. Right? And that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, you have to mentor them to help them, right? They need a little coaching and guidance, and oftentimes they don't ask for that help. So then they just try and do it themselves, and that's what happens. They mess it up. But I would recommend going with a reputable company that has some experience for sure, and ask for examples of their work.
Well, the thing is, with being an accountant, bookkeeper, I'm not very imaginative, and it takes work for me to write any type of article, or because I'm not creative, I'm not imaginative. Obviously, I deal in the now. This is what the books say. This is what the balance sheet says. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm actually considering hiring somebody, like a marketing firm, to help me, to guide me, because otherwise I'm lost. Otherwise, it's just not my thing.
Well, just to let you know, we do, Rosemary knows me. I'm not trying to sell our services necessarily. I'm part of a large network I often refer people, but we do have small businesses entry packages to help them understand how to do their marketing. So if you're interested, do reach out. And even if it's not me helping you, I can always refer you to someone who can actually do some of the work for you. We do some of the work, but it depends on what you need. So my focus is research and strategy and planning, helping companies understand what to do in order to build a proper marketing. It's based on the E-Myth, where every business should know every part of their business. Every business owner should know every aspect of their business. So that's my key focus. But I'd be happy to chat with you, do a one-to-one if you want to know a little bit more. I'll often offer, an hour just to chat about what you can do. So please reach out if you like. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, I think on that I might dash because I've got another meeting coming up. But this was great, Rosemary. Thank you again for hosting, moderating, hosting. It was
Thank
awesome.
you very much, Toni. That was a really informative session.
Great. I mean, another time we can do something if you find that there's interest. I don't know if you survey your members, but if there's interest to go a little deeper in any of those topics that we talked about today, I'd be happy to take it one step further as well. That might be something we might consider for our next session. Be interesting.
Absolutely.
Coolio. With that,
Bye.
I'll see you. Bye-bye. Nice seeing all of you. Bye-bye.